All right. Welcome in to episode 13 of Men of a Certain Age. Tonight, we are missing Panero P. Double. We're going to send a salute out to Panero P. Double and Madison White. Madison just graduated from college.
Congratulations, Madison.
Salute to P. Double and Madison White. You did it, baby girl, class of 2023. So P will not be with us on this episode, but the next episode, he will definitely be back in the fold. Josie the Kid is my right-hand man with me here today. Josie, how you feeling here today, son?
Man, I'm doing good. Can't complain. I'm live. I'm enjoying life, and I'm prepared to get into it this week. It's Friday, y'all, so you know what it is. We're going to give it to them. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment. Let us know how y'all feeling this. What y'all think about the show today?
No doubt about it. So it's a Give It To Them Friday here, man. And what we're going to do on this Give It To Them Friday, as we did before, is we're just going to go randomly on a couple things that we got on the top of our heads. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of crazy things going on in the hip hop culture, in the black culture as a whole. Man, we got things going down with Pusha T and Jim Jones. Man, we got the Snowfall finale jumping off. We also got Nori and Joe Buttons. Nori and Joe Buttons.
Hey,
Man, Nori and Joe Buttons, man. And then we also got, man, the Freaknik documentary is going to be coming out this month, and it's got a lot of women shook, man. A lot of dudes shook too, because there's probably a lot of foul stuff dudes was out there doing too, man. So Josie, they got a lot of people shook about the Freaknik documentary coming out, man. So we're going to get into all of that on this an exciting episode of Give It To Them Friday. So Josie, as I mentioned in the beginning, we got a lot of things to roll through. But the first thing I want to talk about, man, this is close to us because it's about Joe Budden and Nori. And they're hating, man, on content creators, which is what we are content creators. And they really, right now, man, they're showing their ass on content creators. So before you actually give it to them, man, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and
watch the clip.
We're going to watch the clip of Joe and Nori to see what they got to say. Then we're going to come back
and comment.
And we're going to comment about it.
And y'all make sure y'all like, subscribe, and comment below. Right along with us.
You know what's crazy? I'm looking at these rappers trying shows now because rappers from our era, and they are so failing. Isn't it great? It's great to see people fail. It's great to see people fail. Yeah. They're doing sports shows. They're doing comedy shows.
They're selling ass out there, right? They are selling their ass.
They talking about, I'm just doing this for fun. No, you're not.
No, you're not. It's a lie.
They go get a computer. They get 2 cameras. And then they come out for 3 weeks. When the 6 episodes don't work, they start to rethink it. And you know what happens?
Give up.
They come out with another show. And then that's trash. And then they start cooking.
Nah.
Y'all looking horrible out here.
Give it to them.
So yeah, Josie, Nori and Joe Buttons, man, give it to them.
You know what? I watched the clip from a new perspective this time. At first, it seemed they hating, they don't want other rappers to come up and be successful in their space. But it seemed like it's more personal than that. Seemed like this may be somebody that turned them down or shitted on them when they was trying to put their show together. And now their shows are successful. And those same people are trying to emulate their brand or emulate their show or their concept. And yeah, that's funny to them. Like, it's funny to see them fail. It's funny to see them niggas that was up and now they down and we up. and now they trying to bite what we doing when they was talking mad shit about it. So it may be a lot behind that. I don't know. But for the most part, it was a lot of hate in their blood right there.
I'm
For
listening.
no apparent reason.
I'm listening at them, looking at them with the minks and shipping champagne and feeling good. I remember a time when your man Nori was reggaeton.
This is all that you can tell Spanky on it. The remix to the remix with Yankee on it.
He was out in the wilderness. After that reggaeton died, is reggaeton still a thing? Do they still have reggaeton?
It is.
So is Nori retired from reggaeton, or he no longer?
I think Nori retired from music, period, because he making so much money. He just made us a couple of singles and threw them out, but I ain't seen an album, reggaeton, hip hop, or otherwise in a while.
So, fam, my thing is like this, man. It's enough for all of us to eat, doggy. Y'all up and high, up top right now, and y'all act like y'all are the originators of the podcast game, and that ain't even the truth. Y'all need to salute, rest in peace to Combat Jack.
Get ready for combat. No escaping. Get ready for combat. No escaping. Dallas on a format.
First hip hop podcast I ever listened to, and this goes back to 2013, 2014.
Right,
You
it's
know what I
somebody
mean?
format that they emulating too. So how you gonna hate on somebody else? If anything, it would have made much better content for them to bring them people on the show and maybe talk about whatever their differences is and talk through them. Be men about that shit. Call a nigga out on their bullshit on your show if that's what it is. But don't with the sneak diss
Wasn't no
nonsense.
no sneak diss. The man said, "Isn't it great that they failing?" I'm like, come on.
Not only isn't it great that they failing, but these rappers. And then, of course, Cameron come back knowing he one of the only rappers that got a sports show, act like they talking to him. Now it's a thing between the two of them when it didn't have to be.
Who else was they talking about? They basically said everything but his name because he the only 90s hip hop star with a sports talk show with Mace. Now, Joe Budden. You remember when Joe Budden was on Love and Hip Hop crying?
He always has me.
You know what I'm saying? He Love and Hip Hop crying, and now you up and you shitting on people. Come on, man. Humble yourself a little bit, man. Just a little bit, man. Ain't nobody saying all the time you got to be meek or nothing like that, man. But for you to sit up there and say, ain't it beautiful that people are failing? You don't know you don't know what these cats got going on. This might be their last ditch effort to make it.
But I think, again, that's why I said it was personal. It's almost as if I want you to fail. I like seeing you down because you hated when I was down. So you wanted me to be down. Now you down. I'm going to try to keep you there and do the same shit you did to me. It's almost like tit for tat, like it was revenge.
No, is it? Let's get deep. Let's get Jacques Cousteau on this, B. Is it innate? Is it our nature as Black folks
to have the crab in the barrel syndrome?
To have the crab in the barrel syndrome type thing and not want the next man or next woman to shine. You rather knock them back than to say salute to them or I see you.
How can we serve each other's purposes? Because again, having each other on each other's shows can only help integrate the audiences and add viewers and subscribers to both of their platforms. That shit don't make no sense to try to separate and divide and conquer whoever it was. If they a rapper or somebody with an audience and you believe that you can commingle that audience and widen yours, then again, whether it was a problem or not, it was better to resolve it on camera and bring them in and talk about it than with the I'm going to shoot off in the dark and not name no names bullshit.
And before we turn the page on this one, man, the cooking show. Nori had Trick Daddy, who has a cooking show.
If I could open this one, little caramel brownie, to give it a little flavor, give it a little island vibe. Yeah, pigeon peas and rice. Dade County style. See that right there? Yes, sir. When this come out, y'all gonna know I'm the real deal. Add a little black pepper, salt, already pre-mixed. I'm gonna take some more of the juice off of what I cook the shrimp in to make sure we have enough, you know what I'm saying?
Within the last 6 months to a year, Tragedy Gaddafi has a cooking show.
Welcome to On the Child. I'm your host, Tragedy Gaddafi, along with my co-host, Mr. A.
What up? His man, or was his man, his on again, off again man, Traj, has a cooking show. So it's like, why take a shot at these cats, man? I don't know.
Especially and they was conscious enough not to go in your lane. They dealing with sports.
But even if they did go in their lane, it's room for them in that lane, man, because it's always a top spot, and then there's everybody else after.
But they certainly could have. Again, Cameron and Mace being in hip hop have the chops and the Rolodex to have the same kind of audience and viewership and interviews that Drink Champs does. They could have definitely came in their lane and tried to be a competitor. It was a conscious effort, it looks like, to do something different. And then you still gonna try to pull me down? I don't respect that.
Yeah.
I don't respect it at all. And I think, again, Joe Buttons, I'm going to give you a quote that I recently learned, and I want everybody to hear this shit.
Lay it on us then.
One of us will never be as smart as all of us.
What? Again? What was that?
One of us will never be as smart as all of us. Together we are stronger. Those brothers, those podcasts, those corporations are stronger together.
Bring them under your umbrella, Joe. Bring them under your media empire. You know what I'm saying?
They really don't want to be men of a certain age because I'm not tolerating none of that nonsense. I get that y'all got paper and y'all can do what y'all want, but man, listen.
Yeah,
it's a whole bunch of garbage being done on hip hop's behalf. Let's just say that.
With that being said, Joe Button and Noriega.
Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
We're going to go ahead and close the chapter on that hatiness. And then we're going to go next into our next topic here tonight, Josie. I'm going to leave it to you. Where you want to go here tonight?
Man, I think I got to talk about my boy Prize. Because I want to hear all the hate on that. I can't help but think, again, especially in the hip-hop community, we are extremely hypocritical. This shit is crazy. Yeah, I want the person who would not take $100 million to infiltrate, to manipulate, to try to smooth the government or lobby, as they call it, on someone's behalf for $100 million. I want that person to stand up because I take everybody that is in the media community that has a blog or a article that was written about this man and all that happened, and everybody got their opinion. But I don't got none of them turning down the $100 million. So at the end of the day, it's all bullshit. Y'all trying to give us garbage and hit us with fluff. At the end of the day, if I was a billionaire and I offered to pay any one of y'all $100 million to do anything, it would get done, period.
So what Josie is talking about is Proswell. And we're going to go ahead and let our man Roland Martin break down what really happened with Pros. And then when we come back, we're going to react to it.
There it is.
Pros Michelle, one of the founding members of the Fugees, he's headed to prison today, convicted on 10 counts in a scheme to help China influence the U.S. government. Federal prosecutors allege that Lowe, Take Joe, also known as Joe Lowe, paid Michelle millions to help launder money Lowe had allegedly embezzled from a Malaysia-owned investment fund. The alleged scheme involved payments to Barack Obama's 2012 presidential re-election campaign and efforts to convince the Trump administration to extradite a Chinese national. Again, Michelle faces 22 years in prison. This was a really a strange trial to run. People might remember that was a Super Bowl commercial that Pros had taken. It was like a $5 million Super Bowl ad for this content company where they were going to be making cell phones, and the sales from the phone were going to create black content. And I always thought it was strange because they ran a Super Bowl ad and the site wasn't even live yet. And in fact, and I remember, and I forgot it was called, I think it was called Blacksure or something like that. And I remember actually getting with the PR people and doing a phone call with him about it. And it seems that all that money that was coming in with the stuff like that, now he going to prison.
Ooh, man, I actually did a little bit of research on this case a couple of days ago, and it seems to me like, honestly, Praz got in deeper than he could really swim in, got in some water that he couldn't really play with. The people who he was associated with are some real heavy hitters, and they were going around buying a lot of influence with a lot of people, whether it was the Kardashians. If you take a look at this brother, this Asian businessman's Rolodex, it's crazy. It's pretty much all the A-listers in social media and in pop culture and hip hop and stuff. And I think what he was trying to do was trying to figure out a role for himself outside of music, as trying to make himself like a cultural ambassador and try to be somebody who can broker deals. But if you don't know the water you're playing with in that, it's best to leave that alone unless you got a team around you who really knows how to navigate that. What he did wasn't really a unique thing as far as trying to broker influence and be like a fixer to introduce one person to the other. But when you're starting to play around with people who don't play on the same level that you play with, when they're dealing with governments and they're dealing with presidents, and if you're not on that level, it's best to leave that alone until you know what you're dealing with. I'm not saying he didn't do some of the things they convicted him of, but I think he's becoming a fall guy for some other people's influence. Just a mess.
Look, here's the deal, Rebecca. You know, this guy here cost Malaysia billions of dollars. There were other people who went to jail as well. Look, when you start taking money and you start talking about influence, you got to register as a lobbyist of a foreign interest in this country. Yeah, he was in real deep, and now he about to head to prison.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate. I would say for any celebrity, any person who wants to get involved with politics, especially when it comes with money, you really have to make sure, Train was saying, you have to make sure that you have folks around you who have experience in that and know exactly what they're doing. We just saw Congressman Jeff Fortenberry also get in trouble for taking money, I believe it was from a Chinese national that went directly to his campaign, and he got convicted. So we're seeing that the Department of Justice is cracking down on this. And I would tell people, especially going into the 2024 election cycle, if you want to raise money for any particular candidate, if you've never done it before, you need to make sure you seek out professional advice, because we're seeing a steady.
So yeah, man, that party people is basically the gist of the situation that Praz put himself in or was taken advantage of, or
Yeah, I
however.
believe he was manipulated, and I agree with my guy that what he did wasn't illegal. And again, to try to be an influencer or try to be a deal maker is admirable. He simply was trying to be a middleman, and I don't think that he understood where the money was coming from. And I don't think that's something that you would ask someone who's a billionaire. This was a tech player who was already a billionaire who also went into this role and stole money from these people. And at the time, like the gentleman talked about, his Rolodex was crazy. He had all kinds of friends that would vouch for him and say he was a good dude. So it's not nothing that you would look at and think twice about, especially if you don't feel like you're doing anything wrong or you're talking about anything that's illegal. Now, the fact that he's now being used as a fall guy, and the people that were really involved outside of Praz and my guy who already going to jail are scurrying and hiding in holes and shit, it's a little sad to see my guy go. Salute to you, Praz. Hold your head up, and we praying for you, my guy. I don't know what they're gonna do, but it don't look good.
I'm saying is this: it's consequences and repercussions to everything you do. If you don't know what you're doing or what you're getting into, you might need to pump the brakes and slow down a tad bit and take a look around and see where you at and what's going on. I cannot comment on what he was doing and what he got into, but all I can do is speak for myself and to say sometimes everything that's good ain't good
for you.
You know what I'm saying? Peace to Praz, man. 22 years is a long time. And I'm going to say this, going to jail is a young man's game. Praz is probably close to our age, if not our age. 22 years, that's heavy. And that's Fed time.
Got to do 85% of it, man. Ain't no parole or come home or plea for your life or parole board or none of that. You're doing 85%, and then they give your ass a bus ticket and a small check and send you home.
Once again, I'm gonna speak for myself. 100 million to have had 100 million and then go to jail and have to do 22 years at the age of 40 or nah, I'm good on that 100 mil. That's just me.
Man, it's not me. And if anybody is looking for any influence at this very moment, please contact me. Because I'm taking that 100 million and I'm leaving the country. And I'm going somewhere where it's not a crime to make them deals. My Rolodex still work in motherfucking Chechnya or Belize. For sure, I could make phone calls, video calls, whatever I need to connect them dots from somewhere else with my 100M. But I would not have been here taking this abuse for something that, again, depending on who you talk to, is not even a crime. He ain't trying to do no shady shit. He advocated and lobbied the same thing that they pay people millions of dollars a year do for horrible shit. When they lobby to get motherfuckers to cut down trees or to drill for oil, that's going to kill the environment. Don't nobody say nothing. When they lobby for casinos or tax credits for the rich or ability to take on more casinos to create more gamblers around the world, don't nobody say nothing. When they lobby to knock down all of the laws that would give help and resources to the mentally disabled, nobody say nothing. But then when it's a problem or it's a crime, oh, it's so horrible. Oh, woe is me. Yeah, we're not going for that shit.
Once again, I'm gonna say I don't know what he was convicted of or being convicted of. Was rules to all of that shit. They was talking about being registered as a lobbyist. I don't know if that man was or what if he was not. All I know is you're looking at a significant amount of time. And all I can say is, man, best of luck to you, fam.
Man, 10 different counts. He convicted on 10 different counts. Yeah, I'm with my guy. I believe that man is being made a fall guy, and that is a crying shame what's happening to him.
Oh yeah, believe me, the black man is always going to be that guy.
We good for that. That's why, again, I would have had my change and I would have left, exit stage left.
You got to be smart in all of it, everything you do, man. We all take risks. It's just about the risks that you take.
It is.
And
it for sure is.
And he took a mega risk. And he thought it was worth it at the time. Now, I bet you he wish he never met that motherfucker. You know what I mean? What Carl Thomas
depends on where that money at. They never did say they took the 100 mil back.
Man, listen.
It ain't worth the 20 some odd years he about to play with, but
ain't no but.
His peoples will be straight after he gone.
Okay. Salute to Praz, man. The Fugees is one of the best to ever do it, man. It's hard. It's hate to see y'all like that, man, with your mans going to jail. What is it with the Fugees, man? John Forte with the liquid.
Right, that was John Forte with the big coke bust. I thought he saw something recently about him being out or him getting out.
He is out, but he was moving liquid coke. Lauren with the taxes.
I guess when you get to the point where you selling 13 million albums and you traveling the world intermingling with all kind of different people of different powers, you definitely get, again, some opportunities. It's a whole bunch of shit that was going on then that we don't know nothing about, that don't nobody speak about. The Fugees need to do a documentary. Can we get working on that?
It's coming. It ain't no doubt about it. You know what I mean? But peace to the Fugees, man. Lauryn Hill, my favorite. Wyclef Jean, we forgot you on the producers segment, man. But you there. It goes without saying in Praz, man. Hold your head, man. Hold your head, man. We're going to go ahead and go to the next subject that we were talking about this week. And it's funny, Josie. This one is the Freaknik. And the Freaknik brings a smile to both of our face because we got a story to tell about the Freaknik.
Tons of stories and pictures and proof.
Hulu has got everybody, not everybody, it's got a lot of females, a lot of dudes shook about the footage that's going to be shown in this documentary on the 94 Freaknik, which the 94 Freak, I was there. The first Freak we went to was 93, the year before. 94 is the year that the documentary is based on. And full disclosure, 93 was way better for me
Way better
than 94. 94 was like gridlock. You couldn't move around. You couldn't get nowhere. It was a party everywhere. But for me, 93 was way better than 94.
I think that's why they did 94 though. After 93, the word spread so hard that when 94 came, they pounced on Atlanta. It was crazy. I think it was 3 times as many that the next year.
There's no question. Let's go ahead and take a look at this clip about the freak.
Your own people. This freak me. I feel comfortable here, whereas somebody else would just, they were like, oh my God, I cannot believe you're going there.
What? Tell you what? Put it on black. Put it on black. Put it on black. Put it on black. That again, big stuff. See? You want to money, baby. Show that money, baby. Put your money on
Looked at that clip of the Freaknik, we saw girls out in the street popping that coochie, as which it was called back then. And then,
that's when Luke was getting, man, okay. Luke had him going crazy.
Pop that coochie, Doodoo Brown, all of that type.
What about
Daisy Dukes, all of that was during that time.
Was the era of the Daisy Duke and the short pants, the short cut shorts. I'll say this though. I stand with those women. I understand letting yourself fly at that age and things going on, and then you becoming this uber professional. And I also understand reinventing yourself and wanting to put those past mistakes and past personas behind, right? So you bury them deep, you become someone else, you put that person forward. That's what they call your representative. So your representative is living your life now, and the real you is some footage of, and you're afraid that people will find out that you have the representative forward. Well, after a while, the representative becomes you, and that is you now, and you don't have to be afraid of your past or apologize for it. I do realize that it's a lot of people that may look at you differently based on some of the actions of that footage, but I promise we all was kids, we all understand, and I stand with y'all. I do think that it's crazy though that y'all suing to try to stop them from putting it out. I think y'all need to go to whoever y'all afraid to find out and prepare them for it. Because at the end of the day, that was you.
And again, just like I was saying about Praz, there's consequences and repercussions to everything you do. We all have made mistakes. And unfortunately, you might have done yours on camera. And I'm not just speaking to the women. I'm sure it's dudes that was on.
It's for me. Listen, everybody on camera on that documentary is going to be embarrassed about how they portrayed themselves if they are men of a certain age now or women of a certain age. So just because you are uber professional or you manage to obtain some sort of level that you feel is high enough where you can't give it up, or you feel like you don't want to threaten, then everybody is going to feel the same way about how they are portrayed. They were all kids. We all made those mistakes. We were all there, and we all have stories. So the fact that they have a documentary about it and we survived and we have managed to maintain and get to a point where we have these successes now, and we climbed the mountain. We made it to the other side.
Salute. And
So-
you look back and say, 20 years
Right.
ago, I might have been that way, but now I'm not.
And your kids.
If you the same person that you was back in 94, then shame on you.
Shame.
You know what I mean? And
But
also,
these kids need that reflection.
and also, Josie, we're going to speak to the positivity of the Freaknik. Speaking for our first time, we drove all the way from Buffalo, New York to
Man,
Georgia. 15 hours. All right.
Both ways.
In a 93 Fleetwood Cadillac, 3 of us.
And that's all we're going to say about that because the statute of limitations ain't up.
Me, Josie, and DJ Shay. Rest in peace,
Rest
Shay.
in
You always
peace.
with us, baby.
Fly low, baby.
And I can remember when we got to, I want to say like Kennesaw, due to the fact that I've lived in Atlanta and I've been to Atlanta so many times. I know the way there. When we got to about Kennesaw outside of Atlanta, and we looked around and we saw all the plates. The plates was from everywhere. You would see a Michigan plate, you would see an Illinois plate, you would see a North Carolina, you would see a Pennsylvania,
Missouri, Washington.
Ohio. And the thing about it, it would be us in the cars. It would be a car full of girls. You know what I'm saying? Or it'd be a car
Reflections of you.
It'd be a car full of dudes, and we was all young, trying to go down and celebrate this. Because when we first went, we had never heard of the Freaknik, and how we got onto it was my cousin, Dewana. She went to Mercer, which is in Atlanta, and I had reached out and called her and told her we were going to take a trip down to Memphis to hang out, and she was off at school. And she told me, she was like, listen, I'm at school, but if y'all gonna come down south, you should come to Atlanta. They have this picnic, it's called the Freaknik.
Shout out to Dewana.
I turned to my mans and them. I was like, yo, Cuzzo say, yep, this festival going on in Atlanta, it's gonna be live. We was like, man, we had a little bit of dough. We had license.
We had gear.
So we could go cross state lines and not worried about getting stretched. So we went, we took that 15-hour journey from Buffalo, New York to Atlanta, Georgia in 1993. And it changed my life because the next year I actually moved to Atlanta off the strength of the Freaknik. Josie, what do you remember most about our first trip?
The opportunities got bigger, the dreams got bigger, the wants and desires got bigger, the attempts and the fails got bigger. But it all started on that weekend.
There's no question. That weekend, it lit a fire under boys to, like you said, it's people out here doing it. And then when we went to Atlanta, I had been to Atlanta before, but not as a man. I had been as a child.
With your peoples.
And I had never been to a black city like that. And just to see all the blackness in the city, it was eye-opening. 93 Freaknik for me definitely shaped a lot of things that went on after that experience in my life, for sure. Shout out to the Freaknik, man. The Freaknik probably got a lot of people back, man. When I say a lot of people back, it was a lot of network. It was a lot of
networking, a lot of money, a lot of merchandise, a lot of exchanges of information. And it was back before social media. So this was social media, getting up in person, networking, putting numbers in your phone, talking to everybody, finding out who doing what, how they can play a role.
Not even putting numbers in your phone, because that
writing
wasn't
them down. Yeah, writing down, right. Pen and a paste paper.
So
for sure, because you was damn rich if you had a phone around that time.
Hell yeah, because it was $10, $30 a minute. You know what I'm saying? And you was walking around with the
You'd be like, you can say hello, but you gotta hang up right after that. You can't. But no.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Freaknik, man. And you know what, man? A lot of people got attracted to the city of Atlanta because of the Freaknik, man.
Right.
You know, people
wanted to live there. Well, that was
attracted to Atlanta.
That was also something that you touched on. Not only did we see a lot of us, and we see a lot of black faces and a lot of black people, but we also, like you said, seen that they were in cars from all over the country. So you knew that those same faces and those same neighborhoods was in each one of those states and cities. It wasn't like it was just you. Like you said, it was eye-opening that these people were coming from all over and they looked just like us. They talked just like us to a certain degree. They wanted the same things. They was interested in the same things. We all had a common goal, and that was to party and release. And a lot of us, like we talking about, went on to be more successful because at the time they was busting their ass and trying to make things happen and trying to be popular, holding down jobs, taking care of their family. It's a lot of us that started this adult shit early. For that, it may have been a situation where they was trying to blow off steam so that they can go on to the second quarter or to start the second quarter of their life, college or new jobs or new adventures or whatever. So yeah, we let it loose them weekends or them Freakniks.
And I've been 3 times. Twice I went in 93 and 94, and then I also went in 97. When I went in 97, 97 was strictly hustle. Shay, me, Shay, again, rest in peace to Shay, rest in peace to my brother. The 3 of us, we went down to Atlanta to hustle t-shirts. That's another thing that you saw a different perspective of is how the vendors and different things was getting down there in Atlanta. Shout out to the Freaknik, man. It was a nice time. Again, for me, 93 by far was the best time I had because I would say because it was the first time and it was so new and so fresh for me at that time.
We exchanged information and planned for that shit for a whole year for 94. But for 93, it was just a phone call. It was a spontaneous trip. It was just something we did and it was free. We were free as far as the time, the schedule, the budget. It was just all spontaneous. With 94 and after that, it was all planned and scheduled, let's say.
And shout out to Philly for having the Greek Freak. They had a picnic out in Philly. We went out to the following year. It wasn't as big as the Freaknik, but they definitely put it on for sure down there in Philly. Salute to everybody who's been to the Freaknik, who went to the Freaknik, who made it there, made it back, and had a ball. We're going to move it back to the hip-hop side of things, Josie. And we are men of a certain age. You are into the hip-hop culture and into the new guys more than me, but I do listen to see what's going on. And just recently, your man Capo, Jim Jones, was on the Breakfast Club, and I guess he feels some sort of way about Pusha T being in the top 50. Now, we've talked about the top 50 list that Jim is hot about. That's a previous episode. Check that out. It's definitely worth the check. Also, like, share, and subscribe as well. So
definitely comment on this shit.
So let's take a look and listen to what Jimmy has to say about Pusha.
Pusha T reach out? Did Pusha T reach out and say, Jim, you bugging? I'm top 50.
I don't think Pusha T gonna reach out to me. I'm not that type of person who's gonna reach out to me about my opinion. You heard?
Y'all not cool?
I ain't cool with him like that.
Oh,
I don't know him like that. I know him to say what's up, give him a pound. You dig? And I wasn't trying to diss him. And just they asked me a question. I get very excited and things like that. But I don't think my phone ain't the line to be calling.
Jim is funny. Jim said, I wasn't trying to diss him, but Jim said he's not top 50. I don't think he was selling drugs and crack like that. Jim don't stop. Jim just keep going.
Jim said, not his own dope. Not his own.
Maybe I might have took a little bit far. Maybe I could have said something else to get my point across. And I don't want to sit up here looking like we using Pusha T for the butt of our joke and things like that. But it is what it is, man. We're not going to sit up here and go back and forth about it. I don't really care. Can you tell me, can you sing along the 5 Pusha T records right now? His records.
Yes.
His records?
Yeah.
Name
I love Pusha. Nostalgia.
Oh, you was a Pusha T fan. I didn't know he had fans like that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No, his records. Can you rap to 5 Pusha?
I can't rap 5.
All right, can you rap to 5? Wait, can you rap? If 5 Pusha T records, not the records he's featured on, if 5 Pusha T records came on right now, could you rap them?
You could rap 5 Pusha T records?
Yeah. Could you rap 5 Pusha T records right now if they started playing?
What do you mean rap? Like the hook?
Could you sing them?
So yeah, man. Jim Jones, Capo.
Hey.
Is this clickbait? has figured out how to play social media to stay relevant, just to say certain people and random things, just so because he knows that's going to bring attention and keep him relevant in the industry? Because for me, I can't name 5 Jim Jones songs.
Me neither. But I'll say this. It's definitely clickbait because he didn't use himself as a reference. He was talking about NBA Youngboy. And if you're going to put NBA Youngboy up against Pusha T joints or bars, I can't listen to nothing you say.
What you mean he was talking about NBA Youngboy? He was saying that NBA Youngboy should be in the 50 instead of him?
Instead of Pusha T.
Oh.
Come on, man. I get the man got more streams, but bars, songs, I definitely couldn't name one NBA Youngboy song. So it's bugged out. That's the reference that he used. He didn't say Pusha T shouldn't be there. I should. He said it's other cats, you know what I mean? And then he referenced this dude. Like, man. Now, yeah, I'm out here. I listen to young cats. I'm searching for new music. I'm a B-head, and I'm listening for fire. And I have listened to several NBA Youngboy tracks, and I can't find any. I don't know.
So, Jim Jones, I don't know about NBA Youngboy, so
Fuck out of here.
Jim Jones, Pusha T, bar for bar. Who comes out the ring?
Pusha.
So I don't understand
the reason for that.
Again, like you said earlier about Nori and Joe, it's got to be something personal with Jim and Pusha for him to. Why wasn't Pusha T that
right
out of the 50?
Of all the people on the list, that's who you chose to say something about?
Because it's out of that 50, it's probably about a good 25, really, to about 30, you might say.
I could think of at least 10 people will go before them.
You know what I'm saying? So
they'd be back in the 200s.
Like you said, like you were saying about Nori and Joe screaming on Cam and Mace. It could be Percy with Jim and Pusha T, but I'm from the era, man. Don't shoot bars or Instagram posts at one another. Man, pick up the microphone. Right. That's what I'm talking about. Pick up the joint, pick up the microphone, and let this dude know that you can't see me.
Yeah, what? Jimmy, if you really think shit's sweet, say his name on wax and let's see what happened. Let's see if the buyers could compare.
Because that's all we wanted at. We don't want it nowhere else but on.
We don't want no beef. We don't want no nonsense. We don't want no street shit. But if you really think you better, or NBA Youngboy for that matter, say his name on wax.
That's all we wanted, to keep it hip hop, yo. You know what I'm saying? It's funny to me. It was just funny to me that out of all the people that was on the list, it seemed he just pointed at him.
Singled that man out.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is. It's out in the ether. Before we wrap up this exciting episode number 13 of Men of a Certain Age, please, y'all, thanks for watching first and foremost. Please share and subscribe.
And comment. Please. We want to hear what you got to say, whether it's good or bad. Say,
man, your opinion counts over here, man. If you want to say I suck or Josie is full of shit, by all means, say it.
You can say it. It just won't affect me. I love y'all all.
So, yeah, man, Josie, this last topic before we wrap up, man, this has been a real touchy subject within the culture, man. Now, we both are big fans of this show. And the show finale was last week, or was it 2 weeks ago?
John Singleton is turning over in his grave.
So now that he said that, we're talking about Snowfall, y'all. And before Josie lets loose, I want to say one thing about Snowfall. For me, Snowfall is the best series surrounded by a black cast that has been on television or cable, period. So, Josie, I know you got a lot to say about the finale. I'm going to let you get yours off first, and then I'm going to come after you and tell you how I felt.
First and foremost, I have to say my favorite black cast is Queen Sugar. So shout out to Harpo Studios and the OWN Network and Queen Sugar. I respect their cast too. I think that's probably the best black cast in a show for me. For Snowfall, it was definitely in my top 5. I think John Singleton wrote the shit out of it. I think they've done a good job keeping his legacy up and keeping the show going after his death. So shout out to everybody involved. That being said, I hated the last episode, and I don't know what the fuck that was about, but I would just have to say I would have to give it 1,000 thumbs down. I think that it's always for us harder as black men to do stuff. It's always turmoil that we go through. But to have gone through all that he did to get the money, and then gone through all that he did to get the money back or get half of the money back, and then get to the point where the man was about to give him the password to have it wired, to have his own mama sabotage and shoot the man, stopping all of that is crazy. Now, I get mama wanted revenge. I get dude said some slick stuff that infuriated her. But come on, man. 37 million to being homeless.
So for me, I felt that the ending was fitting because it was only 3 things that could have happened. He could have got knocked off, he could have went to jail, or he could have got hooked on the product itself
and been strung out.
So those for me was the 3 ways that it was going to go for him, for Franklin. And as far as his mom's, why she did what she did, because at the end of the day, Mom Dukes, she knew it had to stop. What he did, what he was doing, destroyed their whole family, from the father to the uncle to the moms to himself. So that's the reason. Not only did she need to blow your man's back out, Teddy, not did he need to get it, but she wanted to put a stop to what was going on. It had to stop. It had to end. So as Mom Dukes has been the center, the sole controller of everything, she had to put an end to it because it had to stop. It killed the entire family. She cared about her family. So she put a stop to what she could. Now, whether it was right or whether it was wrong, that was the reason why she did it, because it had to stop. That's why she did it, B. And you to be mad at Leon is another thing. And it's, that dude, we saw his whole evolution from being baby monster to being somebody that was conscious.
A conscious drug dealer, though, man. So giving that man his 37 million, letting him ride off into the sunset and be a property owner in real estate and get out of the dope game was a bad thing. He wanted out too. So mama with the bullshit, I'm trying to get my son out, I'm trying to get him to stop. He was out. He stopped. Teddy pulled him back in, stealing his money. And as far as the fucking family and all they bullshit, Pops running his mouth ruined him. Mama running her mouth ruined her. Jerome and Louie trying to take over the shit from him ruined them. All of that shit could have been avoided if everybody would have played their part and stayed in their fucking lane.
The root of it all was the money. At the end of the day, that's what tore the whole family apart, was the money, which is the root. You know what I'm saying? You got to see it. You got to see the whole listing of it.
The lust for money is what tore apart. They all had enough money to retire and go somewhere and legitimately live, and they refused to do that. They wanted to live in the hood. It's the same thing with drug dealers these days. It's the same thing with Leon. How do you sit there and talk about having $3 million fucking dollars and you still in the projects? You still trying to be the dope boy that hold the community together instead of the land baron or the property owner or the entrepreneur. That shit is fucking insane.
Yeah, it is. That was his path. That was what he chose. And the way he chose to do business, he was able to walk away with money.
With some change. Which is why you can't look down your nose at me. He was supposed to give that man a lifeline. Here, man, take 100, 200, 300, go get you a few keys, get back. Hey, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
At
But
that point,
he wasn't
at
supposed to
that
leave a
point in
man
time,
dry and let him be homeless and then come back at the end like, I'll pay your taxes. You don't got to live like this. Nigga, do you see how this shit been for years? What that's going to do? I still can't afford to maintain it. I can't afford to keep it up. I can't afford nothing that's going on. I'm fucked up. I have
right.
no
But
skills.
you
I have
got
nothing that I can offer the world other than this.
you got to get yourself first. You got to get yourself right in order to get right. So me giving you $15,000, whatever, right now, all you gonna do is drink it up or fuck it off. At
No,
this,
I'm talking about originally, not when he was homeless. I wouldn't have gave him nothing was he was homeless. That house probably would have been paid for just to be looking out for him without him knowing it. But when he first went to him and said, listen, I got this land deal. How much you got left? You got $3 million. Okay, this is what I need, blah, blah, blah. The man still had the projects going. They was making money. Everything would have been cool, and he would have been out the game. And Leon money would have been invested in real estate, which is more secure. If anything do happen, you got something to fall back on. He said no. He left the man out there by himself, and wouldn't nobody look out for him at that point because you done failed. Now you on the ground, we gonna keep kicking you.
yeah, man. And sometimes when you fall, that's when you're able to get up. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, Leon, he chose to move how he chose to move, man. And at that point in time, Saint wasn't the same Saint.
Yeah, I see him as being desperate at that time, and that's exactly when you're supposed to look out for your man when his back against the wall. That was his man. Like he said, you wouldn't have none of this shit we wouldn't have none of this if it wasn't for each other, because Leon was the muscle. So I can't say it was all Saint, but come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. So I ain't saying give him $3 million, but you could have gave him something. I wouldn't have left the man out there facing homelessness, knowing he was about to get shit on. Again, it was all over. If you weren't gonna protect him and you was gonna run your own gang, then he ain't have Jerome or the Bras no more. He was out there by himself with no muscle, no nothing.
And
Yeah,
I ain't saying you wrong for feeling how you feel. You also saw his moms throw her life away to stop you from continuing to do what you do. So that's got to be in the back of your head too at the same time.
For me, that's not what I saw. What I saw was his mom throw her life away to avenge her husband. Everybody want to make it so she did the shit for Franklin, but at the end of the day, that's some bullshit. That nigga said some slick, foul shit out his mouth, and just like most black women, she couldn't control her temper. She pulled that shit out and banged that nigga before she thought, because she would have gave him 10 more seconds had she thought about it. 37 million, like even her life was fucked up because he ain't had that money. She would have been much more cushy in prison had he had some change. Come on now.
That woman saw her whole family tore apart by Teddy and her son, and she felt the need to shut it all down, and she did. Good, bad, or indifferent.
He'd have got back.
Exactly.
That's what I said. After she did that, instead of going to Leon, knowing that your uncle was who he was and you was this killer dude, he was supposed to hit the streets and rob every out there that had a little change. All the little Dion's, all them niggas running around acting like they had something. He could have got a little change from them and been back. No, he want to go to his man and ask to borrow something. Borrow something? You just murked like 4 niggas. What is you talking about? Like yesterday, you just... Yeah, no, not borrowing nothing. It's going down.
So put a big bow on this one, fam. What we gonna say is this: Josie, he is
fuck out of here
with the ending, and me.
The last episode, the season was great until the last episode. I don't know what that was. The writers was sitting around trying to decide how to end it and just threw that against the wall, hoping to stick. And I'm here to say no.
The season finale for me was all right, man. They left it open for Wanda and Leon to have a spinoff, and even with their spinoff, your man Franklin could bounce back years later like his pops did.
I didn't want to see them in Ghana with the nonsense.
Who said they was gonna be in Ghana?
It's not, because he talk about he in the music business or she in the music business, and he done started a law clinic. I was like, what? How that happened and y'all in Ghana?
Yeah, they ain't in Ghana.
Clearly shit changed.
South Central, nigga. Quit playing. So yeah, man. This
all
is
that wokeness, looking out for your people, and you back trying to get in the music business. What?
Yeah, man.
They didn't think about that shit at all.
This is episode 13. Give it to them.
Subscribe, share, and comment. Let us know what you think.
So
let us know how you feel about that bullshit. Whether or not you're with me or you're against me. What it is, yo.
So Snowfall. So, man, again, this is episode 13, the Give It to Them Friday episode. For me, Les, for my man Josie, as long as the love and the trust is there, we gonna grow. As always, man, rest in peace to DJ Shay forever, man. One love.
Forever, yo.